didn't even need to call everyone to order. They just saw my power and acquiesced. Can you guys hear me okay? All right, so I'm Jessie. I am not the MC. I'm just calling everyone to order, so grab your snacks and have a seat. We're really excited, and thank you all for coming. Here's MC Sophia in the house. Give her a round of applause.
Okay, I just want to make sure you guys can hear me in my mind. Okay, awesome. Okay, so hello, I'm Sophia Gim. I'm going to be your guys' MC tonight, and I just wanted to start off tonight with a little land acknowledgement. So our campus resides on the unceded territory of the Occoquan on Linkit-Ani, also known as Juneau and Douglas, Alaska. We acknowledge that Linkit peoples have been stewards of the land on which we work and reside since time immemorial, and we are grateful for that stewardship and incredible care. We also recognize that our campus is adjacent to the ancestral home of the Occoquan and houses neighboring Haidas and Tsimshian peoples. We commit to serving their peoples with equity and care. We recognize the series of unjust actions that attempted to remove the Occoquan from their land, which includes forced relocations and the burning of villages. We honor the relationships that exist between Linkit, Haidas, and Tsimshian peoples and their sovereign relationships to their lands, their languages, and their ancestors, and future generations. We aspire to work toward healing and liberation, recognizing our paths are intertwined in the complex histories of colonization in Alaska. We acknowledge that we arrived here by listening to the peoples, elders, and lessons from the past, and these stories carry us as we weave a healthier world for future generations. So I would like to start off with a little bit of just a What is Summit introductory kind of information session. So essentially Summit is an undergraduate journal that UAS publishes every year. We're really focused on highlighting students' work from previous classes. We also really like to highlight just academic excellence and people coming through and working on their papers and putting in a lot of effort and highlighting all of the work that they put in throughout the entire year. So this is kind of our just big moment to celebrate students working so hard in their classes and professors as well. This is also our 5th edition, so we're super excited this year. It's kind of a special time that we've been doing it for so long, so very happy. And this is also our 3rd physically printed edition as well. So we had a little bit of just before this on digital versions, but now we have books. So we're very excited about that. And I'd also just like to read, we're dedicating this edition to Rosemary this year. And where did she go? There she is, yes, okay. Okay. We at the UAS Writing Center tutors dedicate this journal to Rosemary Alexander for her outstanding work at the University of Alaska Southeast over the past many years. Rosemary's steadfast dedication to her craft has imbued generations of students with strong skills in writing, communications, and reporting. As Rosemary retires from UAS, we would like to express our sincerest gratitude for all her work and her support of the Writing Center. Though she will be missed as a bright light in our university community, we wish her the very best going forward and offer our sincerest congratulations on her retirement. So, another round of applause for Rosemary. She's so amazing. Okay. The last thing I just wanted to mention is that our submission period, we open every year at December 1st, and then we close on February 1st the next year. So we also just want to say that papers that will be submitted will be from the previous year before, so any students that had it from before will send in their papers by that date, and then we will get back to you after shortly if you made it into the journal. And during this time, I would also like to call up Aparna to come speak. So I'll let her, sorry, I'll give you a second. That was very fast. Okay. So I'll see you. Okay. Sorry, they're all on the other side.
Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Aparna Palmer, and I'm the Chancellor of UAS, and it is such a pleasure to be here. You know, when I first interviewed here, I got to see a copy of Summit, and I was just blown away. I was blown away because very few undergraduates in the entire country get to have an opportunity to submit and be published in a journal while they are still undergraduates. And very few students get to have agency to create a journal to really go through that entire process and create a publication that is all their own. I was tremendously impressed. And so this is something that everyone should be proud of, whether you are a faculty member, whether you are a student, whether you are a staff member. A lot of love and care and dedication is put into this process, and it is something that is phenomenal. It is a shining star for UAS, and it is such a great honor to really be able to be here and be grateful for this publication. So as part of my gratefulness, I want to begin by thanking people. First of all, I want to thank the Writing Center tutors, past and present. Yes, let's give them a hand. Jessie Goodman, Sophia Gim, Maddie Bremer, Ian Jensen, AJ Schultz, and Adonis Scalia. Let's give them another hand. This is a tremendous accomplishment. The next person that I would like to thank is our Dean of the Library, Elise Tomlinson. So from what I hear, although it's a very student-directed project, Elise is there to help guide the students and guide the process. And some of the students that I spoke to felt that Elise was indispensable to the creation of this journal. So let's give her a round of applause. So what I also think is so impressive is that students get to take their work from all of these different classes and submit to this journal. And then you have a panel of people who have to read each work very carefully and choose what gets to be published. I know that this is very hard work because I know that every submission was probably amazing to read. And I think we can all be very, very proud of all of the students who went ahead and submitted this year. So that hard decision that was made by our judges this year should be celebrated as well. This year they were Forrest Haven, Julie Schramm, Jonas Lamb, and Jay Shapansky. Let's give them a round of applause. I also want to thank all of the UAS professors who encouraged their students to submit their works to the journal for potential publication. This is amazing. I really can't stop thinking about how astounding it is that at this university we are doing something that is so meaningful and so valuable because it recognizes student work in a very tangible way. The fact that you can see your work in print, even today, means something. I know that a lot of publications occur online, and they are very valuable and worthy as well, but there's something really special about holding a piece of writing or a collection of writings in your hand, have art that is produced for it, and have something of this caliber come out each year. It's pretty huge. So I do want to thank all of the UAS professors who encouraged their students to submit and who supported their writing journeys. I don't take it for granted that a lot of hard work and guidance went into this from the professors in whose classes these students wrote these amazing pieces. A final word, I think that, working to submit something that you write is an act of courage. And I think that should not be forgotten. Even for me, and even for established writers, I think every time that they submit something for publication, they are taking a risk. Now, we all are, we're asked to take risks in our lives. It doesn't always feel comfortable to take risks, but it is one of the most important things that you can do to develop yourself as an individual, whether you're in your 20s or whether you're in your 70s. It's so important to do. I was reading a little bit about how our brains develop and how people have a couple of different intelligences that they bear during their lives. There's the intelligence that allows you to learn large amounts of information or processes, to adapt, to be flexible, to really like work with challenges. There's that intelligence. And then there's the intelligence that allows you to just operate almost without thinking because of the experience that you've gained as a person living on this earth. So we can call one crystallized sort of intelligence when you really have gained a lot that allows you to operate effectively. And the other type of intelligence we can kind of maybe talk about as flexible or adaptive intelligence. It allows you to meet challenges and learn from those challenges. So what I find interesting is that in the article that I read, they said that your flexible intelligence, your ability to learn and grow and adapt, for most people starts to wane at the age of 25. And I was like, oh darn, I'm older than 25. But what takes over is the crystallized intelligence, the intelligence that you've learned and gained as a result of living a life of experiences and your long-term memories, things like that. Now, both are essential to your development as an individual, but people who continue to challenge themselves, to take risks, to learn something new, they are able to keep that flexible intelligence as rich even past the age of 25 as their crystallized intelligence is. And it allows you to keep your brain alive and flowing and allows you to create throughout your entire life. And so I look at this journal and I think, what a wonderful thing for a person to embrace, no matter what age they are. Whether they are a young student or an older student or somewhere in the middle. I think it's such a worthwhile process to participate in creating, but also taking the risk to try to publish in. So I really love the celebration of that flexible intelligence that goes into the production of this wonderful journal each year. With that, I would like to thank you all for inviting me. It's an honor to speak to all of you, and I will turn it over to our MC to continue the event. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Aparna, for that beautiful speech. So right now I am going to turn it over to some tutor introductions, so we'll get a little more individual talking up here from our team. So the first person I'd like to call up is Adonis.
Hello, everyone. Just to briefly introduce myself, my name is Adonis Scalia. I'm a sophomore here at UAS, which means it's my second year working for the Writing Center, and my first year being really involved in the summit process. So I don't really have too much to say in terms of introducing myself, but I do just want to say I'm really proud of all the tutors for being able to present this tonight, and I'm really grateful for everybody who helped us through it. Thank you, Elise. Thank you, Jesse. And I will turn it over to Maddie.
Hi, my name is Madeline Bremer. I've been a writing tutor at the Writing Center for about partway through the semester, and I've had a really fun time listening to people working on Summit, helping with the process at all. It's just been an honor to be here and to work with other people, and I just can't wait to keep going and doing this. So thank you so much. Next up, a brand new tutor who's about in the same experience as me, Ian.
Hi, my name is Ian Jensen. Like Maddie said, I am a brand new tutor here. I've only been at the Writing Center for about 4 weeks. I was not very involved with Summit this year, but I'm excited going forward to be a part of the process next year. I'm a third-year student here at UAS, pursuing a bachelor's degree in literature. AJ is not here right now. Should I introduce Sophia?
Okay, we do have, unfortunately, one tutor who's missing tonight. He couldn't make it. He's in Anchorage, and that is AJ Schultz. I just want to give him a shout out. He has been working for, I think, almost 2 years. I'm not quite sure. Quite a bit. So he's a veteran tutor, if you will. So we love AJ, and we're bummed that he's not here tonight, but we just want to acknowledge that he very much supported the team and helped us with this so much. So thank you to AJ. And then I will switch it over to Jesse.
Hi, if you don't know already from that introduction, I'm Jesse Goodman. I run the Writing Center. My official title is Writing Specialist, but really I think of myself as like I don't want to say the tutor whisperer because they're they're pretty well under control, but that's the best part of my job is getting to see them grow and getting to see the students grow, and I feel really lucky to be able to be part of what is hopefully formative in their lives. And this is my, I've been here almost 3.5 years, and this is the 4th edition of Summit I've been involved with. And don't tell, but I think this might be my favorite cover. So that's me. We have, excuse me, I've been losing my voice this week. Happens every spring. We have our judge, Jay Shapansky. He's going to be speaking about how impressed he is with all of your entries and the process. And so I will hand it off to Jay.
Thank you, Jesse. All right. I had to print my remarks out. I am not a good extemporaneous speaker, so I hope you will indulge me as I move through them. I'm glad I was asked to speak tonight because the work that goes on to launch such an event needs to be known and celebrated. At UAS, we take great pride in the intellectual curiosity and academic prowess of our students. Summit serves as a platform to highlight the outstanding work produced by our undergraduates across various disciplines. This journal is a testament to the dedication, creativity, and critical thinking of our student body. The pieces featured in this edition of Summit have undergone a rigorous selection process. Students submitted their best writing from their classes, and a panel of judges carefully evaluated each submission. The works chosen for publication represent the highest level thinking, demonstrating the depth of knowledge, clarity of thought, and innovative perspectives our students bring to their academic pursuits in all of our disciplines. Publishing in Summit is no small feat. It requires not only exceptional writing skills, but also the ability to engage in scholarly discourse, conduct thorough research, and present compelling arguments. The students whose works grace these pages have shown themselves to be true scholars, ready to contribute to the academic community and beyond. I had the privilege of serving as one of the judges for this edition of Summit, and it was the usual rewarding experience. Reading through our submissions, I was struck by the level of sophistication and originality and the intellectual rigor displayed by our students. The range of topics covered and the depth of analysis presented were truly impressive. It was an honor to be part of the process that recognizes and celebrates the exceptional work of our undergraduates. Being published in Summit offers numerous benefits for our students' intellectual and academic growth. It provides them with the opportunity to engage in scholarly discourse and to refine their writing skills. Moreover, having their work recognized and celebrated in this manner boosts their confidence, encourages them to pursue further research, and sets them on a path towards becoming leaders in their disciplines. Summit is not just a journal. It is a springboard for our students' future success. And none of this could happen, of course, without the guidance of Jesse Goodman and the editorial board of Summit, nor the financial and supernatural support, I said supernatural, from our library dean, Elise Tomlinson. But it especially could not happen without the toil of our tutors and student editors. So again, Maddie Bremer, Ian Jensen, Sophia Gim, AJ Schultz, and Don Scalia. It is a lot of work, but it is also a labor of love. To the students published in this journal, I offer my heartfelt congratulations. Your achievement is a reflection of your hard work, dedication, and prowess. And this is the only beginning of your personal and professional success. So with that, I think we're ready to hear some excellent writing. So, MC, who's next? All right.
Thank you so much, Jay. we also just want to say that Jay has had so many students over the years submit to Summit, and he's definitely the main professor. I feel that students feel they can improve their writing and send in their writing. We get a lot of Jay essays, so just wanted to highlight that. Okay. So now is the exciting part. We're going to read some parts of the book. So I would just like to highlight that every single year we have the Ernestine Hayes Award. So it's $250, I believe. I don't want to say the wrong number. Okay, so $250 cash prize. One person gets this, and this year the winner is, I don't know if we need a drum roll, but Shamai Thacker. That was loud, sorry. Yippee! Okay, so I'll just read a little bit about her and then I'll call her up here. So, a devoted professional with a passion for creativity and greater equity in Indigenous learning experiences, Shamai Thacker, an Alaska native in Inupiaq, Tsimshian, and Scottish descent from Clam Gulch, Alaska, weaves personal experiences with a dedication to supporting others. Shamai currently works as a training and development specialist at the Alaska Native Tribal Health Consortium. Residing in Anchorage with her family, Shamai continues to pursue education, recently completing the Alaska Native Language and Studies program, and aspires to pursue a PhD in the future. This trajectory is geared towards advancing the empowerment of future generations through culturally responsive teaching and program development. So I'd like to call up Shamai.
Thank you. I'm so nervous. Oh my goodness. Shamai Thacker Nawayu, Daniel Faye Wheeler Nawash Nayayu Wetk, Danoatak Ada Inupiat, Patricia Maud Wheeler Atkinson, Wash Nitsietsu Wetk, Metlakatla Ada Simshiant, Stephen Ada Angela Speck Wash Nagyetku Ada Clam Gulch, Alaska Wildzogt, Anchorage, Alaska Wildzoku, Dil Nakshu Brian Ada Glugum Kelby. My name is Shamai Thacker. My grandfather was Daniel Faye Wheeler of Noatak and Inupiat. My grandmother was Patricia Maud Wheeler Atkinson of Metlakatla and Tsimshian. My parents are Stephen and Angela Speck of Clam Gulch, Alaska. I live in Anchorage, Alaska with my husband and my toddler son, Kelby. Hi, Kelby, wherever the camera is. So my submission was the Alaska Native and American Indian perspectives on blood quantum and tribal status. I'm very nervous because this is a very important research to me, and it was a labor of love for a year. So first, let us address the elephant in the so-called room, blood quantum. To the Indigenous reader, it brings a bit of a shudder, a metallic tinge on your tongue out of nowhere, a ripple of static throughout your entire body. The decision to research blood quantum did not come lightly. This research came to fruition through my own experiences related to blood quantum and tribal status. Not in all cases does blood quantum dictate tribal status, and while my blood quantum does not dictate my own tribal status with a federally recognized entity, my tribal status was revoked for other reasons related to antiquated tribal laws that were created under the established blood quantum laws. To experience such a thing causes one pause, and in those moments of reflection that come often since my disenrollment from Katuchak Native Tribe in 2018, I asked myself, how many others have gone through this and what did they do? But this isn't a topic that many discuss openly. Even I, when all of this happened, kept it very close to a very close circle for inquiry and steps forward. Learning that the steps forward meant uprooting and starting over, I kept wondering why no one talked about these things happening. I was at a complete loss and dead ends in my efforts to seek options to reinstate my tribal status without completely ruining all of my current opportunities. How was this okay with everybody that I spoke with? The depth of pain that came from being stripped of a part of my identity that was lost on these people. 34 years of the only identity that I knew of my Alaska Native heritage were gone. How little I knew what that meant until just a few years later. How little I understood the impact of the topic and how it would lead to me conducting a research study related to it a mere 4 years later. This paper highlights some of the key themes in the current research available related to blood quantum and tribal status laws, but more importantly, it highlights the differences in the scholarly research compared to the perspectives that were captured in an online survey that I distributed to various communities for Alaska Native and American Indian identifying people to contribute to this research. To fast forward through most of this paper, because it is very long, I'm going to go straight into the Indigenous perspectives. The impact of this study comes from the participants' response to the impact questions in the survey. It was necessary for this study to prioritize the qualitative and impactful statements made by the participants to see how the personal input aligns with the literature and studies that have contributed to blood quantum and tribal status in westernized research practices. The participant responses were to 4 questions, and they were prompted with, I'm not going to do the summaries, so I'm just going to read the questions, and I'm going to read a couple of the responses that came with them. The first question I asked was, in what ways have blood quantum requirements impacted you? The response that I got for this was, this idea of blood quantum requirements, most common requirement, a quarter Indian, will prevent my future descendants who are raised in rich cultural environments and educated of history and heritage from becoming tribal or corporation members. They will not be able to claim the same sovereignties and opportunities I have because they will, according to the colonizer, lack the blood quantum requirement. Therefore, this colonized perspective should be abolished and deemed null. A second person said, blood quantum makes me feel like a fractured person and I'm not enough. The next question was, in what ways would or have tribes or corporations lowering the requirements impact you? One said, this would create a safer space for those that identify with the culture and what to celebrate or want to celebrate our traditions and practices. It could create an even larger community of people who want to stand together. Another said, lowering the requirements would make me feel more welcome and comfortable in engaging with tribal communities, as it would lessen the anxiety that I feel stemming from the notion that I may not be Indigenous enough. The third question was, what might be the benefits, advantages, or disadvantages of lowering or removing the requirements? The biggest response that I got out of this would it be more beneficial to have a wider group of voices and experiences be considered a status member of the tribe, as it ensures that policies enacted by the federal government that banked on the eventual extinction of Native people don't come to pass. Some disadvantages, though, would be a larger strain on potentially limited resources. And finally, in what ways have blood quantum and/or tribal status impacted your self-identity? One respondent said, feeling like I am part of several races, yet I am not Native enough to join specific tribes or corporations. This causes me to feel inadequate and confused on how I fit in the Alaska Native culture. I often feel I'm not Native enough. I often feel not Native enough. I have felt like I am not enough and I don't belong in a Native space. Blood quantum is a colonial construct that came from Victorian ideologies meant to erase Indigenous identity, to remove any government responsibility to the Indigenous people. By utilizing colonial constructs that fracture identity and isolating blood quantum conversations, including identity and belonging, primarily in academic settings, capturing various Indigenous voices helps Indigenous people share their personal experiences related to blood quantum, tribal status, and identity. When it comes to Indigenous rights to self-determination, tribes get to make whatever rules or laws they see fit to determine who its people are. Further research in this area should be explored to structure the conversation around blood quantum and tribal status in meaningful ways that capture the true impacts this colonized construct has on our Indigenous people today. Fractured identities only feed the seeds of generational trauma, and it is through the encompassing and reimagination of cultural identity and practices that tribes and villages can reimagine how to keep their cultures and traditions alive in a time of dilution following settler colonialism. Sorry. This research was a lot for me, and this is the first time I've read the paper since I wrote it. So thank you so much. It's such an honor to be selected for this and to be able to share this work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for reading. Okay, so next we have our runner-up, and that is Kiefer Brown. So we want to get a little yippee. This one's going to be a little special, actually, because we had such a close call this year with our scoring. So we made something a little special for you, Kiefer. We have a mug. Kiefer loves pinnipeds, and he is probably the smartest person ever about anything biology related, marine biology. So we wanted to honor him with this mug. And also there's a gift card. I don't know why I didn't say that. This is very awesome. Okay, so I'm writing this down to you. Let me read your bio really quickly. Okay. So, Kiefer Brown is a senior marine biology major who enjoys writing and playing tabletop games such as D&D in his spare time. He is passionate about pinnipeds, and after graduating, he hopes to pursue a career that will allow him to aid in pinniped research while spreading awareness for marine mammal conservation. So, I'm bringing Kiefer up here to read a little part of his essay.
Thank you for that. Before I begin, I would like to thank the Writing Center, Dr. Heidi Pearson, and everyone who's encouraged my work with writing and study of pinnipeds. So here's a sample of my paper, the title of which is Pinnipeds, From Sea Bears to Ocean Badgers. By chronicling how the scientific understanding of pinnipeds has changed, one can gain a broader perspective of how pinnipeds have and will continue to adapt. Understanding evolutionary origins and geographic distribution of pinnipeds has advanced over a century of research. Genetic research and discovery of extinct species have expanded the family's fossil record to some of its most basal members. Although the fossil record of pinnipeds in the southern hemisphere remains largely unknown due to research bias favoring the northern hemisphere, recent discoveries in Canada demonstrate how pinnipeds transitioned from life in rivers to the marine environment. Using past publications and fossil collection at the Burke Museum of Natural History and Culture, this study assesses how the understanding of pinniped morphology, evolution, distribution, and development over a century of scientific advancement has progressed with genetic research regarding pinnipeds' closest relatives. Studying pinnipeds' genetic and fossils of basal species shows that pinnipeds share a single common North American ancestor, which, akin to modern pinnipeds and other surviving muscelids, relied on tactile perception of its environment. However, even though a comparative lack of fossil remains have been found in the southern hemisphere, gaps in the fossil record still shows that viperaceae were a primary sensory organ used in both modern and basal pinniped detection of prey. Even though the evolutionary history of pinnipeds may appear irrelevant to the modern day, the morphology of ancient pinnipeds influences the survival of pinnipeds in the present. As climate change and pollution threatens the future of modern pinnipeds, using fossil discoveries to reconstruct the adaptations that allowed pinnipeds to survive in the past can offer insight into their ability to adapt to anthropogenic threats. Today, pinnipeds face threats such as loss of breeding space, interference from anthropogenic noise pollution, and a lack of prey due to rising ocean temperatures. The factors behind these threats are complex, but by studying the past, researchers may gain insight into how pinnipeds can be conserved into the modern age. While modern science has well-developed understanding of how cetaceans made the transition from terrestrial to marine life, a comparative lack of fossils has left our understanding of pinniped origins relatively incomplete in compared to cetaceans. Despite pinnipeds' evolution being less understood, though, discoveries in the fossil record and advancement in genomic technology have shown that the mystery of pinniped's origins is significantly clearer than when research began in 1897. As the morphology and behavior are influenced by evolution, understanding how pinnipeds evolved and survived in the past could be used to influence conservation. With a better understanding of how pinniped evolutionary history and adaptations have allowed them to survive, we can better recognize what helped them in the past in order to prepare for the future. Thank you.
Okay, and now, last but not least, we have our next reader, who is Sammy Zelli. So Sammy is a junior pursuing a bachelor's degree in English with an emphasis in creative writing and a minor in environmental science. Her interdisciplinary academic interests include ecosemiotics, eco-critical and cultural theory, climate change in the Arctic, systems of ontology, and epistemology? Yes. Okay. Ecology and environmental ethics. Leave me alone. Beyond her scholarly life, she is a proud dog mom who enjoys rich coffee, crafting, reading, and hiking. I would like to call up Sammy to read.
Hello. I firstly want to thank the Writing Center for inviting me to speak about my piece. I'm honored to be a published author in this year's edition. My essay titled Ecofeminism in Appalachian Literature, Sensuous and Spiritual Embodiment in Fair and Tender Ladies by Lee Smith was my final project for Professor Jay Skopinski's Southern Women's Literature in the 20th Century class. Without fail, I discover a new novel or short story with every one of his courses, of which I've purposefully taken at least one consecutively for 5 semesters, going on 6. I want to also thank him for fostering learning spaces and constructive dialogues where my deep affection and appetite for literary theory continues to grow. Literary theory empowers me to consistently explore those deeper questions about being human, and specifically what it means to be human or good in the Anthropocene. It's argued by some eco-critical literary theorists that all fiction written in the Anthropocene is inherently climate fiction. As a member of Generation Z, the eco-critical and eco-feminist lenses are inherent to my worldview, which I apply sometimes automatically to all texts, including Fair and Tender Ladies. This particular text offered me the opportunity to expand my new historical understanding of environmental extraction and untangle potential remedies for our communities in moving toward relationality and reciprocity. The epistolary novel critiques the logic of extraction that is inherent to the Appalachian and overall American culture of coal and the exploitation of the female body. Fair and Tender Ladies offers us an alternative to the logic of extraction through suggesting that we seek embodied, sacred experiences with natural landscapes. The supplemental research I employed for this essay included articles from several disciplines, including the natural sciences, sociology, public health, environmental history, and queer, feminist, and Marxist theories. These served to establish my foundational understanding of environmental extraction, specifically in Appalachia, and how this has affected and continues to affect those impoverished communities. Through the theoretical lenses I applied to this historical understanding, I deduced implications of what this potentially means for a world of rapid environmental change. So I'm going to read the last few paragraphs of my essay. Ivy, who's the novel's protagonist, is particularly sensitive to the Appalachian Mountains, a rich image in the context of mountaintop removal in Appalachia. From the time Ivy was a young girl, she paid particular attention to the mountains as the center of her natural and spiritual landscapes and the geography of storytelling in her childhood. The family farm is on Blue Star Mountain, which to Ivy don't seem no blue neither when you're up here, but it is the prettiest place in the world. Mountaintop removal is a coal mining technique that is permanently altering the topography of the Appalachian Mountains, wherein workers use large amounts of underground explosives to loosen the rocks and soil above the coal seam and huge earth-moving machines to remove this overburden and mine the coal. This process functions to, in Marxist terms, reconfigure high places into low, which is a pursuit of homogeneity of natural landscapes, mirroring the homogeneous framework of modernity.
It is precisely through this framework of practices such as mountaintop removal that the logic of extraction thrives, whose effect is especially acute in Appalachia. Functioning as a conduit and mirror of the Appalachian landscape, one that is pastoral, sensual, and sacred, mountaintop removal is also an eruption of Ivy's self. Though Ivy's grandmother instills in her that a body can get used to anything, Ivy does not tolerate this. Ivy's environmental activism, which culminates in an act of arguably environmental terrorism, is cumulative and profound. Once she catches wind that Peabody Coal Company will be exercising its, quote, right to mine the land upon which the family farm rests, which was signed away by Ivy's mother in an act of desperation for economic security, she puts up a no trespassing sign on the property. She points a gun at a coal worker who drives a bulldozer up to the property stepping stones, after which he retreats. In her final act, she intrudes and remains on one of the company's dozers against their orders, which draws the attention of news reporters, after which they backed off for good. This act is Ivy's consummation of embodied activism, which is based on her spiritual and sensuous relationship with the land. According to David Abram, we as humans negotiate relationships with every aspect of the sensuous surroundings. The color of the sky, the rush of waves, every aspect of the earthly sensuous could draw us into a relationship fed with curiosity and spiced with danger. It is our embodied experience through the body, the somatic, that mediates our relationship to the natural world. The logic of extraction, thus, may be contextualized as an antithesis of the sensuous, the disassociated, the fractured, the corrupted. As a conduit and mirror of the pastoral Appalachian landscape, Ivy symbolizes how environmental degradation is of equal poison to the human body. Our separateness from the natural world via nature-culture binaries in Western thought is merely a facade. Importantly also, Ivy represents how an embodied relationship to the land may function as a balm to the logic of extraction and may serve as fruitful ground upon which to enact effective environmental activism. These are invaluable insights that demand application in our current age of the climate crisis, wherein to become resilient in an increasingly precarious ecological epoch, restoring the landscapes we inhabit is a necessary first step toward binding the imagination of our bodies back into the wider life of the animate earth. As exemplified by Ivy, it is our inhabitation of our landscapes through both storytelling and embodied experience that we may naturalize an environmental imagination of reciprocity, sensuality, and sacredness as a response to the logic of extraction. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sammy. So this next section, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the cover art. I had the amazing opportunity this year to get to do it, and I'm so thankful. And I couldn't have done it without, oh, thank you. I couldn't have done it without our very good friend of the Writing Center, Dalacha, Casey Motes. Casey has been so amazing throughout these past few years with anything artistic. We come to him with just last year, our cover was another collaboration between our previous tutor, Autumn, and him. And it was more Alaskan berries in the front and in front of the mountain, and it was so beautiful, and he always does such a good job. So I had him do the form line this year because I really wanted a form line element. I thought that would be something to finally feature on one of the covers. That would be really cool. So he did that for me. So thank you so much, Casey. So just to say a little bit about the background of it, the backside has a raven stealing the sun, I believe, and then this is an eagle on the front. I originally had this really, really horrible attempt at form line, and I was like, I can't put that on the cover. That's not good. So Casey saved me and made this beautiful art. So just wanted to shout that out. And I am going to call back up Jesse for some brief remarks.
It's me again. So first I want to say Gunach for coming. I really appreciate it. It means a ton to us, especially on a gorgeous day like this. Thank you for sitting inside with us. At least we have windows. I just want to say, I'm going to do mostly thanks here, but before I do my thanks, I just want to say I love how this brings together people across the community, not just the library staff and the tutors and the professors and Jay and the students, but it's just, I came from a very large university where I got my graduate degree and I used to teach. And it was huge, and in the second biggest city in California, and just being in a small, intimate and relationship-rich place like this, it's just so cool to be able to see the ripple effects so closely. And so each of you that's here has had an effect on me and an effect on other students and each other. So I really appreciate that. I again want to thank Casey and Sophia for our beautiful cover art. And I think the reason it's my favorite is because I'm a child of the 80s, so I really like neon colors. Because our other covers, which Autumn Daigle was our former tutor who did those with Casey, they're also incredible. So I can't say that next year's won't be even better. We'll see. And then I want to thank our current tutors that you guys met before. We've got Sophia Gim, Adonis Scalia, AJ Schultz, who is at a conference now, but he's with us in spirit, Maddie Bremer, and Ian Jensen. And I want to shout out our judges one more time because they read a lot. We had a record 23 submissions. Before that, it was 15, I think was our highest number of submissions. So they read quite a few pages, and they really cared about all this work and really wanted to put their all into it. So I appreciate that. So thank you to Dr. Forrest Haven, Dr. Julie Schramm, Jonas Lamb, and Jay Shapansky, and also all the professors whose classes generated the work that is in this journal, and those professors that encourage their students to submit and let us talk to their classes and give that little extra push. We really appreciate your support, and I know your students do too. And I also want to give a little shout out to some of our former tutors who helped make this all come to fruition, the ones that were involved when we first got this thing published in physical form, which was, at least we'll agree, it was a feat. Shailene Moeller, Autumn Daigle, Francesca Johnson, Sabrina Croft, if you guys are out there, we miss you a lot. Come back, get another degree. I'll hire you back. And then, of course, our library staff and faculty who just are always so supportive, and we're like a little family in here. Kaya Hendrickson, Carrie Neely, Cindy Besser, Jen Ward, David Cox, and also a huge thank you to our other support that we couldn't have done it without. Mary Alice Henry for stepping in as admin and saving us with her skills, and Gloria, who's hiding over there, Gloria Mary, doing our tech. I am not a tech person, so without her, streaming would not be possible, and I'd probably just have to be shouting instead of talking into an actual microphone. And then Allison Krein, who took our cover art and turned it into an actual book cover. It really does take a village to raise a journal. And I just want to read all the names of the tutors. Writers that are in this journal. I know some of you guys are here, and I feel like everyone should get a little shout out. If you're here and I read your name, just raise your hand and get some glory. I'll go from the end up. So Holly Hofbauer, she's also been in the journal before, so congrats again wherever you are. AJ Schultz, wherever you are, congratulations. Abigail Grenier, Sammy Zelli, who is definitely here. Christine Toms, Emmy Boyd Tucker, Kiefer Brown, the Pinup Head Fiend, and our winner of our Ernestine Hayes Award for Excellence in Essay Writing and a beautiful speech and reading, Shemai Thacker. Thank you so much for being here. All the way from Anchorage, by the way. So you also win the award for furthest travel to come to a summit launch. And I also want to thank and introduce someone sitting in the third row to my right. Her name may or may not be Elise Tomlinson. So she's heard me thank her a million times, but I counted, there are more than 32,000 words in this journal. And that's not even enough to thank her for her support here. It's been, it's always a roller coaster, and really blood, sweat, and tears goes into this, and we could not do it without her. And I said it before, it bears repeating, it would not be a reality without you. So I'm going to Elise, to all of you. I'm going to let Elise say a few closing words, and then when she's done, I'm going to reveal the journal, which is under that sparkly tablecloth back there. So Elise, come on up.
So thank you everyone for coming, and I'm also going to do a brief pitch, which is that the funding for Summit has been from an endowed UAS Writing Center Support Fund. And so we use that for the snacks, for the publication of the actual physical journal, and other expenses. It's one of the funds that we highlight at UAS Giving Day. So if you're going to contribute back to the university, it's just a wonderful fund to contribute to. It's allowed us to do things in the Writing Center that we haven't had the funding for otherwise. And it's just really impactful work that is being done with those funds. We're very judicious in how we spend them. So thank you all for coming. I am so impressed by every article in here. I helped with some of the layout, and I was reading everything as I was going through, and I really am just incredibly impressed with the caliber of the work that you are all doing. It is wonderful. We're going to have this in the library as part of our collection, and also in our ScholarWorks, UA ScholarWorks, which is our official University of Alaska repository for all of the intellectual property that's coming out of the university. So you are all a part of history by being published in this publication. It's a big deal. So final round of applause, and then have some more food, because we've got a bunch of it. So yay!